Hey everyone, today I wanted to talk about a new horror movie that came out this week called The Cursed. It stars Boyd Holbrook and it takes place in 19th century France. I will talk minor spoilers and maybe get into some things here or there, talk about what I did and didn't like because I want to get specific about those things. So if you're like really interested and you don't want to know anything about this movie, then maybe watch it first. But I'm not going to give like the ending or anything like that away. I might mention it, but I won't get into details too much with things. So it's up to you. So this movie, like I said, is in 19th century France, and at this time, there's these rich landowners that gypsies have moved onto their land, and they feel like it's theirs, and so they all go and basically wipe them out, and they kind of make an example of one of them, and then another one is buried alive with this kind of like silver fang that is supposed to be, or like dentured fangs. I don't know how to even really say it. But it was silver that was given to Judas when he betrayed Jesus and has been melted down and it's basically cursed. Well, that leads to a werewolf kind of, or because the gypsies cursed them, it eventually leads to this curse coming back on everyone involved, even their families. And so when Boyd Holbrook, he plays a pathologist, John, I think McBride was his name. He comes and he kind of investigates this, and he had experience with this before his family was killed by werewolves. And this movie kind of is very different in some ways from what normal werewolf movies do. This kind of it looked like a werewolf, but it kind of was like no hair on it. It was like if you shaved a werewolf. It was very different. It was like half vampire, half werewolf, and that was kind of cool whenever it was practical effects. My problem was there was a lot of moments that were like CGI, and it kind of looked bad. So that was one thing. But I would say overall, I did like the movie. I don't know if I'll buy it, but I have to say, like, I feel like I need to rewatch it. It's one of those movies that, like, I kind of don't know how I feel, like, 100%. Like, I was sitting through it, and it starts really strong. At least to me, I really like certain war movies, and it takes it starts off in World War One, and it's only like 5 minutes, but I was like, all right, I'm very interested, and I was kind of hoping it would get back to that, and it kind of only does very briefly towards the end, and so I kind of knew where it was going with it from the start as soon as it kind of reveals something, but either way. I was like hoping there was going to be a little bit more of that, or at least it would lead into World War One, and it kind of never really does. Um, and it takes a long time to build up, and that was one of my problems. Is I really feel like they could have shaved some time off, or if they had that much time, maybe had used it better to introduce certain characters that had a major part in the movie, but were in it for like 3 minutes. Um, there was a character you see in the trailer. He has the teeth in his mouth, and it's like a teenage boy. He's literally in that movie for like 5-10 minutes at most, and like you don't know like anything about him before that. Almost like they're like playing jump rope, and then he's like, let's go, I want to show you this, and they're all talking about all the kids having nightmares of this field and why they're forbidden to go there, and they kind of realize that their parents had done something wrong. And one of the gypsies was made an example of. He was turned into basically a scarecrow, his body, and you see that also in the trailer. So how he actually like how this starts, I kind of have a problem with. I mean, like, or how that starts, like why he just decides he's gonna put them in his mouth. Like, I didn't get that. The rest of how like the werewolves kind of come about, I'm fine with. And I kind of liked that there was kind of a one werewolf doing like kind of spreading or trying to multiply, make other werewolves while the rest are out there just kind of killing. And that was cool. Um, it just was really slow at times, even whenever there was like some interesting, like gory action moments. Um, it kind of was like dragging beforehand, and it takes about 3/4 of the way through the movie before I'm like, okay, now it's really starting to get good. The first like half of the movie is just like wow, this is dragging. And I know you have to like introduce characters. I just feel like they could have either shaved some time off or used it better. So that was kind of my one concern, along with the CGI. Um, a lot of the positives, though, like I said, when it did use practical effects, they were really good. There was kind of like an autopsy scene of one of the werewolves that was great. The war scene at the beginning, you see like what a war hospital in World War I was like. You're seeing people that like had injuries from like the leg, and they just sawing off people's legs and falling in, like the leg is falling into a bucket. They're not like shying away from showing all that. There's like a scene that's reminds me a lot of a scene in Saving Private Ryan where the medic gets shot in like the stomach, and you see like the bullet holes and just like all the blood coming out of his stomach. There's a character in there that they're pulling out the bullets, and he's got bullets all in his stomach. And if you know anything about that period, I mean, it's pretty much common sense to most people that if you got shot there, you're pretty much you're very lucky if you don't die. And they find something inside of them that leads to our main story. And so that's how the movie starts off. I like the start of the movie. I kind of would have liked to have seen more of World War I, but I understand why it wasn't there because it's really not the main focus. But um, it's like set during the time of when like cholera was really bad, and like there was an outbreak of that. And whenever it brings in the werewolf thing too, that's interesting. There's like one character that's trying to basically like hide what happened to them when they got attacked, and that's interesting. And then like what happens to one particular person that you see like their full transformation, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know. I would recommend the movie, but I feel like seeing it in theaters. Now, this is just me personally. I can't. I'm like very impatient in theaters. Like if I'm starting to like lose interest, I like it's starting to like make me not want to watch it. And it's not that I zone out, but it's like harder for me to enjoy it. So if I watch a movie at home for the first time and it's slow like that, I might just pause it and come back because I'm like, okay, I just maybe need a little bit of a break because it's just so slow right now. And that makes my enjoyment of the movie a lot more like, at least rewatchable the next time if I plan on watching it. So if you're like me in that sense, maybe you just wait and rent it because I do think it's good, but it's not great. And I think there will be a lot of people that hate this because this is like, if you want to, I'll use this term because that's what Scream 5 said. It's almost like elevated horror in a sense, where this isn't going to be like a horror movie like, I don't know how to, like, it's not going to be like a cheesy, there's no like comedy in this movie. This is like a very serious horror, like gory movie. But it's not like, there's not really any like deep thought to the movie. It's really just werewolves. And I guess the only thing that I would say is more like because of what these men do to these gypsies, it's more about the monster inside of men. I guess if you want to kind of like use that as a metaphor, but it's kind of a werewolf movie. But that's another scene when you see like the gypsies getting killed. That's one of like the coolest shots. Like I need to rewatch that scene and watch because like I was focused on like one particular spot, and it's just this open field, and you see a bunch of horses ride up, and they're like telling these people to leave. They refuse to, and it's just like probably 200 yards away. This camera is like zoomed out, and it slowly starts to pan in as you're just seeing these men on horses just like shoot gypsies and light their tents on fire, and then whenever it shows like what they're doing to them up close, it gets into some pretty brutal stuff that I think did a really good job with that. So, I mean, there's some really good things in here that I do recommend. And if you have seen it, let me know what you think. I hope I didn't give away too much. If you were interested in seeing it, I tried to be very vague as possible. I didn't tell you who or what happens to certain characters or anything like that, but I did tell you maybe like certain events. So, thanks for watching, and I will talk to you guys soon. I'm pretty busy this next week. I'm working every single day, and then I am going to be going away sometime in March, so I may do some videos while I'm on vacation just for something fun to do. But if I don't see you until then appreciate you guys watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.